Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. You're live. We're live. We're still live, right? We're live. Good evening. I'm your host, Ed McQueen. Welcome to today's program. Today, of course, I'm your host, and none other than Miss April Garner, a live co-host. We got to throw some things in there like that. But anyway, April, we're going to do a lot of reaching today. Okay. And our guest, hopefully our guest can hear us. We're going to do a lot of reaching today, and we're reaching for some beautiful things. One is empowerment. And we have our guest today who's going to share her endeavor as to a little bit more about REACH, R-E-A-C-H. And she's going to also share with us a little bit more about what that acronym is. It's labeled as an acronym. So without further ado, we're going to make good use of this hour. Without further ado, let's bring on our guest. And I'm always happy to see young entrepreneurs like that. Miss Danielle. Oh, she can't. Can you hear us? Oh, she can't.
Danielle, you may have to go out and come back in. Not sure why you're not hearing it on your end. And we can't hear you either.
Okay, well.
Okay, I'll take her off and
okay.
I'll give her a chance to try and get that situated.
Right. But April, hey, we've got more information that our audience really needs to hear this.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go with our local correspondent, Brother Malachi, who's all the stuff that happened at the city council meeting yesterday. He's got everything there for us, and some in his own words, and you can opinionize if you want, but.
Thank you, Ms. McQueen. You know I'm going to opinionize. So we have last night we went over 5 main points. Beginning, the city council approved 2 amendments to the city of Conway comprehensive plan. The first amendment is a resilience to add a resilience element to most of the plans in Conway. This will stipulate further plans and projects in the future to include some level of resiliency, allowing the equipment and buildings to be able to undergo floods, weather damage, and other things like that we have frequently down in this area, and allow them to either not be as damaged or be easier to be repaired. Last night, they focused on the Rivertown area. And as we all know, the locals know, recently last year, there was a very bad flooding, and it was so bad that most of the Rivertown area was not able to be used. And this happens very often down here. So this measure is meant to protect Conway in the future and allow us to utilize all of our space without a hurricane coming through and basically knocking out half of our.
So you're talking about the equipment? You said it's resilient equipment.
Yes, sir. Like something they talked about last night was the playground equipment. There's a Rivertown going down the river walk. There's a playground, and what they did with the playground, they basically ripped down the old playground and put a new one up that is flood proof. And that would help with basically the reason they had to tear down the playground in the first place is because of the water. It brought stuff that kids did not need in their system and got it all over the playground equipment. So they had to tear it down and put a new one up. But this new one will prevent stuff like that happening in the future. They also planted several trees down on the riverwalk that will prevent erosion from happening on that riverwalk. So it's like a lot of small things that work together that prevent flooding, that could prevent. And if it does flood, it's not going to be as bad as it was. Because I remember there was a very extensive time where you were not able to go on that riverwalk side because it was flooded out.
Yeah, that's a lot of times.
Yes, that happens. I joke. I was laughing. I chuckled to myself when this amendment came about. I'm like, they just not doing this. This happens once a year, just about. So, but I'm happy that it's happening now, because on top of it's protecting our future, it's also protecting the wildlife. Because when it does flood, think about it. When it does flood, when the waters go back into the river, all that dirt and stuff gets dragged back into the river when it comes back out. So that will stop that. They're working on stopping that. So there's a lot of small things that work together to help keep our area green and safe. The Second Amendment, what is essentially as,
can I know you're going a bit fast, which is good, and there's some speculation. I never want to get all that out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can I just slow down a little bit, because I really didn't want to leave off that subject first.
Right.
I didn't want to leave off of it because they the flooding issue, that's critical. Okay, for Conway.
Right.
But
especially as a local who grew up, I don't remember a year there has been like a major flood at least once a year. And since I was born, but I know this is something that could be of great value to us.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that was the issue. My concern was that it wasn't talked about enough in terms of the kind of equipment that they had. I don't know what kind of equipment you're talking, and it probably didn't elaborate. But when you say resilience, that means to bounce back, right? So it means to bounce back and see how good the city is at bouncing back with that. Well, it's going to be any improvements over the past? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, sir. From what I understand of the plan that they discussed last night, is essentially going to create like I said, an environment that allows it to, if it does get damaged, it's not as damaged, it's easier to repair, and it allows it to basically things to return back to normalcy quicker. Things such as the playground, the river route not being flooded as often because they added a new pump system that would help with directing water flow to help it not be as flooded. They created like I said, the playground earlier. The playground was not going to be as damaged as it was the last time, because it could be ripped down. It's small stuff like that. Yes, sir. And I think this is just set in concrete because they were doing it before. I remember a couple of years back when I used to work for the city of Conway a couple of years back. I remember that they was added elements like that since like 2019, 2018. But I feel like all this is just putting it into concrete. It's like putting it solid so it's in the stipulations, in the rules in the future. So when we do, they could go on to build more stuff and create more stuff in downtown, everywhere in Conway, that it will have this this element to it, so it won't be as damaged by it.
Okay, to our viewers, the area in question that came up based on what you're saying, Malachi. You said it's a riverfront area, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that floods more than what we call uptown. Okay, come back on Ray's Pass and 378, and that's so I guess that's why they were focusing on that area.
Because we also have to think that's what a lot of our money comes from.
Yeah, that's a lot of commercial on there.
Right.
Commerce. Then and that's good to know. Okay, and that's good to know. So not that I don't know how much that's going to impact some. There is some residential area not too far from that. From there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go right across the bridge there.
Right. Yes, sir.
You're in trouble. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. For the Second Amendment, the Second Amendment would add updates that would adjust for the current population growth, and it will also include housing. The numbers that they gave last night, as of 2020, the census accounted for just about 20,000 people in college. And even now, they accounted for 22,000 people. So we have a very fast growing area. So what they are doing, they are trying to set things in place that would allow for essentially better housing, to provide housing for more people in the area. And I even heard affordable housing. They were trying to work on affordable housing, an affordable housing element in this plan. Something of note, Councilman Larry White mentioned, he made a very great note, and I just wanted to bring it up tonight. He mentioned affordable is different from me to you. What's affordable to me, a 21-year-old college student, is not going to be affordable. Wait, what? Excuse me, I said that backwards. What's affordable to may not be to you, might not be affordable to me, because in things like that. So he wanted to really change the wording of it, but he made a great point. Like it's like you have to think about how this will affect people who are not in the best situations. Like, I know I would not be able to right now. I would not be able to buy a $2,000-$3,000 house, but to some people that is affordable. So it's he who's trying to change the wording, but there is something in the works for affordable housing to be included into the comprehensive city economy plan.
I know you said 2,000 or 3,000. I know you meant 200 or 300,000.
Yeah, excuse me.
It's okay. So the audience needs to be.
I misspoke.
It's all right. Corrected on that. That's all.
Yes, sir. I will also recommend that we expect to see more scooters downtown. The week before last, when y'all last saw me, there was a proposal by a young man named Antonio Knight to bring his company, his scooter company, his public scooter company, to downtown Conway to allow us to have scooters to instead of walking, we would have scooters downtown from point A to point B. And yesterday, they allowed for a pilot period, a 6-month pilot period. So I can't wait. I can't wait to get on the scooter and see what it's like, see what it's about, and see how that will affect the community. Because that was the purpose of the pilot, the 6-month pilot, because the main concern from the council was that they did not want to commit to something and it be a detriment to the community. So we did 6 months, and if it's a benefit to the community, it's going to stay. I hope it stays, but if it's a detriment, it will be removed, and we will probably, more than likely, it will probably be something else to replace.
Well, so in a little more in detail, what were some of their major concerns, or was there one major concern that?
It was as brought up by Councilman Larry White. His major concern was the size of the sidewalks and it not being big enough for that type of action. Having scooters going up and down, but and he even mentioned it might cause some damage, because if somebody is careless and riding a scooter recklessly, they could knock over somebody and that might not be the best look. And that's where the pilot comes from. I remember specifically Councilwoman Amanda Butler and Councilman Larry White had this main concern. They wanted to make sure it's set in stone. This is a pilot, meaning they could pull the plug at any time if something does not go properly. They can pull the plug.
Well, reason why I asked that question was I was trying to envision what were some of the. I know safety is probably a concern, right, and whether they were going to restrict the scooters to the side of the street and not on the sidewalks or what have you, because if you go, you have going to be mixing with people walking on the sidewalk.
Correct, and that was a concern that Mr. Larry White had. It was a very big concern. He made that known before the council, and he kind of like I think the best way to say it, he made his concerns known, and I'm happy for that, because I'm thinking that's a very realistic concern, because if I'm walking on the street, walking down the sidewalk, and somebody knocks into me, I want to make sure that I'm going to be protected. So there was concern about that, and that's why it is a pilot. If it does not go properly, does not work properly, it does not work out, the council reserve rights to remove it. So that's where that comes from.
All right.
That is that. Next, we have on this upcoming Saturday, there is a Gullah Geechee Community Day downtown. It will be held Saturday downtown in the downtown area, and I look forward to it. It's going to be hosted by some of the organizations involved is the City of Conway, of course, the Jonah Institute, the Lord, I listen. Forgot the name of the community, but it's a community out of Georgetown.
Yeah, Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's going to be basically to get awareness out about this community of people. Those of you who don't know, the Gullah Geechee is a group of people who are the descendants of African American slaves that stayed in the Low Country area. So I feel like this is a great opportunity, because a lot of African American people, we're involved in that. We might not call ourselves that, or we might not identify with that, but we are involved with that because we take many pieces from it without unknowingly. So I feel I would encourage much of us to go out there to support this endeavor to get this known about. So I will be out there, as a support, and I would just encourage as many people to come out and support as well.
But what is the location of this? Where is it going to be?
It's going to be downtown Conway, primarily the Riverwalk, if I'm not mistaken.
The Riverwalk?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there are any updates on that, you can just feed it to us, and then we'll send it out on our airwaves,
Yes, sir.
like a website and stuff. Okay.
And here's the important news I was waiting all night to get to. This is why I was kind of rushing, Mr. Edward. You got to stop. You got to slow me down in the beginning, but this is why I was rushing to. We got more news on the Wintermore Elementary School building. And I was so excited to share with y'all tonight. Councilwoman Amanda Butler asked about the progress on the Wintermore Elementary School, and the city administrator responded that the city is currently working with a legal team to see if liability will fall if they was to give it to a private entity such as the Wintermore alumni. So they, as he said, they're taking a comprehensive look to see where would the liability fall. So if something was to happen, essentially, and what my takeaway is, if something was to happen, God forbid, would the city take any responsibility because it's being given to a private entity? So I'm happy to hear this, because this is a relief after not having anything, after basically being radio silence for the last couple of weeks. Right. But and also applaud Miss Butler because I'm glad that, to me, that shows that her concerns are still, excuse me, our concerns are still in her head, and she's still thinking about them. And what is important to us is still in the forefront of what she's
Yeah,
thinking or how she's moving.
absolutely.
So, what I take away from this, they basically just how the legals of it, legalese of it, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
and how things will fall if something was to go wrong. So that's really what they're working on tonight. I pray the next council meeting, the next time y'all see me, I will have more news, hopefully good news about this, and I will be, when I get that opportunity, I will be back before y'all. So
Well, Malachi. While we're on that topic,
mhm.
you mind letting our viewers know of the hard work that you're doing, assisting that group by going to churches and other entities, displaying some of the banners.
Yeah,
And correct me if I'm wrong. The banners that had the banners that have a unique form of technology to it that and we may have mentioned it on before
mhm.
about what those banners do.
Right.
But if you care to do that,
I
you,
certainly
you
don't mind, sir.
yeah.
So the
And your
Winnemore,
next place that you're going to be visiting to elaborate on the banners because you've been taking them around, showing them around to churches and other places, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've been charged with working with the Winnemore Race Baptist Historical Society.
Right.
I have been charged with going around and spreading awareness of this situation, spreading
Right.
awareness of trying to protect the Winnemore Elementary School. So with this, the mainly what I have done is basically visit various churches in the area and talk about the Winnemore alumni. As of this last Sunday, I visited Mount Triumph, down going towards Bucksport. I've recently visited Mason Temple, my home church. I've recently visited Mount Pisco, and it's just been a blessing for me to get this word out because it's involved all of us. One of the main when I do speak at these events, one of the main things I ask is if you have went to Winnemore Elementary, Winnemore Park Middle, and Winnemore High School, please stand up or please raise your hand. And that I do that is to show that this is a fight that all of us are involved in. This is not
Right.
just a old situation that does not involve me.
Right.
I may not have went to Winnemore Elementary or Winnemore High School, but I did go to Winnemore Park Middle, so I'm involved in this history. And on top of that, my grandmother went to Winnemore Elementary and Winnemore High School.
Right.
So this history involves all of us. We all need to come together, work together, and work on this. Um, with this, I present banners, and on the banner, each of the banner is like has a story of a person who went to Winnemore Park Elementary and High School. And on these banners is a QR code. Is those codes that you can take a picture of, and you can get a website pulled up. And on these QR codes, it takes you to an app called StoryCorps, app website called StoryCorps. And what StoryCorps does is what StoryCorps does is it records it allows a person to record their story. So if you want to talk about say what your great grandma did, it allows people to do that. But we are using this tool to record the history of Winnemore Elementary. So eventually, I can't wait to get to this particular part. I would like to go around and record the history of the people that I know who are Winnemore alumni. Winnemore alumni. So I will eventually get around to that, and I will also be at Cherry Hill Baptist Cherry Hill Church this upcoming Sunday, and will also be at the Islamic Center this Friday, presenting the banners.
The Islamic Center, which is located on Race Path, is that Race
Yes,
Path
sir.
in Conway?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what time will you be at this Islamic Center?
I will be at the Islamic Center. I'm still trying to get clear on the time for the Islamic Center, but as soon as I get that sent out, I will have it back to you, and you can feed it out to the community.
Okay. All right. Look,
Malachi, I do have a question someone sent to me, and it's regarding what you stated earlier about the council looking into the liability.
Mm-hmm.
And so that liability issue, does that apply to everyone who presented an RFP, or does the liability analysis imply that the Whittemore Historic Society is going to be awarded the building? Need some clarity there.
So I think that's the way they talked about it. I think they are leaning towards rewarding Whittemore alumni of the building. But what's holding them up is they don't want backlash, the backlash on them. So they didn't want to say if somebody gets hurt in the building or the building is not fixed properly, they did not want the city of Conway to have to write a check or to involve the city of Conway anyway. So I do feel like, based on hearing that, I do think they are leaning that way, but I'm not 100% sure.
So I take it that their objective here, I'm trying to digest what one of their reasons was, is that they want to be absolved from all liability.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I can understand that.
Right.
And so some of the particulars now that's being handled is that how they're going to do it, and what are the legal ramifications involved there. And I would probably think that they don't want to have any expenditures in order to achieve that. Okay, make sure
Yes.
that they're liable. I'm sure that, but they have on-staff lawyers, I believe. But
Yes, they do. The city administrator mentioned that they do have on-staff lawyers that are looking through it and making sure, basically doing everything in their power to clear the city from anything.
okay,
Okay.
And just,
So, yeah, just a moment. So there's still a question because what you're reporting, it sounds like there's the possibility that they may be awarded the project. However, an award has not been determined as far as the RFPs that have been submitted. Is that correct?
correct. There's
Okay.
no award.
No award yet. So from a legal standpoint, the question that's coming across is, does it sound like they're just looking at liability across the board, regardless of who's awarded, or was the question answered in response to what Councilwoman Butler questioned that evening? You said that she was the one who brought it into question as far as what's going on with the project,
Mm-hmm.
and then they talked about the liability issue. So, is it that the response was based on what she was questioning in relationship to that particular project, or was that statement made as a broad statement as far as looking at the liability for anyone who's awarded the project? And I have another part of that question, but I want you to answer that before I ask the other question.
So, from my understanding, it was answered in response to Ms. Butler.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay. All right. And so, just so that everyone fully understands what who the stakeholders are in this, based on what you've learned so far, and you may not be able to answer this. I don't know if Brother Edward can answer it or not, but as the city is looking at who may be awarded this particular property, once the award is made, will the city pull out of the project altogether and have no connection to the project? The project will be solely owned by whoever is awarded the project, or will the city still have some stake in the project after it's awarded to whomever they decide to award it to?
So, I really do not know this 100%, but what little I do know, my understanding is that it's going to be the city will have no problems.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
my understanding.
Okay.
I will I will go do some research and talk around and see if I can get a better answer for you, and I will have that for you next time. But as of now, I do not know.
Okay. And Edna Bellamy DeWitt, she commented that there was only one, should be RFP submitted. So the Whittemore Historic Society was the only entity that actually submitted an RFP for the property?
Yes, ma'am, to my understanding. Yes,
okay.
Ma'am.
All right. So then I think that kind of helps add clarity to what this next phase is, which is to see what the liability issue is.
Right.
Because now we know that there was only one RFP, which means in layman's terms, only one entity actually applied for this position or for this property and wants to be considered for the award, so to say, to acquire this property.
And I do want to know that it's still some negotiations we're going through. It's a little above my pay grade, but there's still some negotiations trying to be worked out, trying to get the kinks out, and see how this works. So I do want to know that, note that, but it's a step closer.
Okay. All right. Well, when you come back on the next time, maybe these are some of the questions that you can answer to add a little bit more context to what's being questioned. But also, I think that because there's always a possibility that people will interpret things in different ways. We don't want to imply that pretty much there's an award that's already happened, and getting the complete story is definitely what we want people to understand. In the next broadcast. So, understanding where they are and, how, like you said, if there's a negotiation phase at this point, trying to understand maybe what the perspective is as far as how long that will, kind of span. And I know it probably takes some time for the lawyers or whoever the legal entities are to figure out what the liability issues are. But if some of those questions can be answered, and maybe Brother Edward, we can invite any of the council members, particularly Larry and Amanda, to come on the show and accompany Malachi with this. I think it would be great to get a full update so that everybody understands where we are. Because at this stage, if it is a step closer, as Malachi has explained, and it's in a negotiation phase, I think we can safely assume that what's going to come next is the city will make a decision as to whether or not the property will be awarded to the Historic Society. And then after that, the community definitely needs to know what the next steps are to make sure that, if the Historic Society is able to acquire it, that there's a sustainability plan and that there's financial backing and all the other things that the community will be expected to help them with. So get Malachi kind of getting maybe a little scope of what's to come and like what the next steps are. I think would be interesting for the community to understand, and might even be motivating if they see that, all this work is turning into, we're moving steps closer to what it is that the Historic Society has set as a goal.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm hopefully it'll be a good motivator. That's what really I'm hoping that
Yeah.
I need more involvement. Okay.
I do want to know. I was looking as we was talking. I was looking through my paperwork, and I did manage to get. I will be at the Islamic Center at 3:00.
3:00.
So just for the Islamic Center at 3:00, and I will be
Friday.
Friday at 3:00, and I will be at Cherry Hill for a normal service starting at 11. If I'm not mistaken.
All right. Well, Malachi has given us all of his updates. Brother Edward, I said we take a quick commercial, and then we'll have Ms. Danielle Lewis with Reach Empowerment on to talk about her initiatives. And Brother Malachi, thank you as always for sitting in on the city council meetings and getting all this great information to report back to the community.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. You're welcome. So, Brother Edward, a quick commercial.
I'm with you.
All right. Here we go.
Let's do it.
We'll be right back.
This is Jerome McQueen of Academics, the national movement to encourage our young people to choose STEM as career aspiration.
I had a really great biology teacher. She was nationally recognized. She got to meet President Obama.
So this year I'm working with 3D printing, actually being able to use my skills from A&T to design things on the computer and actually see them become become a physical part.
And we're back, Brother Edward.
Yeah.
We are back, and we have some very special guests with us tonight. Ms. Danielle Lewis, founder of Reach Empowerment. How are you this evening, Danielle?
I'm good. Thank you guys for allowing me to come on here tonight.
Absolutely. So we're glad to have you here. And of course, as Brother Edward said at the top of the show, it's always good to know about great initiatives and advocacy efforts in the community, especially when our young people are involved. And so why don't we start with you just kind of giving everyone a little intro of who you are and tell us a little bit about Reach Empowerment.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is, again, Danielle Lewis, and I am the founder of Reach Empowerment. Reach Empowerment is a mental health resource organization. We just, in a nutshell, support people along their mental health journey. I am a native of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, born and raised, and I'm just happy to be here.
All right. So Danielle, how long have you had this organization or this resource for the community?
A little less than 2 years now.
Okay. And so what was the inspiration behind developing this particular resource?
So Reach Empowerment is extremely near and dear to my heart. I am a person who has struggled with anxiety and depression, and even had thoughts of suicide, actual attempts of suicide. And I wanted to be a voice to those who don't necessarily have a voice, or they feel like they're alone. And I just wanted to give back and show people that there are people who look like me, look like you, who are able to connect and be there for each other.
Okay. And so I guess you could say that that's a part of your goal, but what other goals have you set for Reach Empowerment since it's been in existence?
So Reach Empowerment started off really small, and we're still a small organization. But our goals, we are trying to increase just our support system and our support network with expanding our partnerships with our counselors that we have. Our number one goal is we don't have a 501c3 yet, but we are definitely working towards that so that we can better assist individuals in the community. Just creating more awareness around mental health so that we can continue to break that stigma.
Okay. Give us some examples of the types of resources you provide for people who need your services.
So a big resource that we have is called Mental Health Mondays, and that is just a little small support network organization type of a deal where we meet once a month, the first Monday of each month. Because of COVID in the past, it has been on Zoom, but we are working towards meeting at different places just to kind of break up the scenery. But the Mental Health Mondays, essentially is we pick a topic, we have a check-in where we just kind of go around the room and we ask like, hey, how are you doing? It is so important to just stop and ask someone how they're doing. That could ultimately alter their day, or just to show that you're here. I have a listening ear, and it's a no judgment. Whatever we share stays in that safe space. It's all about just creating, just making sure that safest space for people to come and share. We do that. We have a specific topic that we may discuss. It could be from self-love to anxiety to healthy family dynamics. We are looking in the future to have a mental health Monday or on Jesus and therapy, where in the African American community, predominantly we are so conditioned to sometimes say, hey, we don't need mental health. We don't need to have a counselor or anyone. We can just talk to God. And don't get me wrong, like that is fine. Having a relationship with God does matter and is extremely important. But having someone that you can share, someone that's not biased, someone that can give you tips to kind of just help you on your, just help you be positive or have a healthier mental space is needed as well.
Okay. So the Mental Health Mondays sounds like they could be very empowering sessions. Tell us a little bit about the impact of those sessions, about how many people have you seen, I would say, along the Grand Strand area. Do most of your clients or participants come from the Grand Strand area?
Yes, ma'am. Most of our clients do come from the Grand Strand area. It could just range anywhere from 8 people to 12 people to 20 people. It just kind of depends if someone is feeling very anxious about that conversation or really needs just someone to kind of listen to. But it just ranges. Our impact from our Mental Health Mondays, people have been able to reach out to counselors. Every Mental Health Monday that we do have a licensed professional counselor on the call. It could be more than one, sometimes it is one. But they are able to ask licensed professional counselors questions for free. Sometimes it costs just to have a consultation or, things of that nature. So to have a licensed professional counselor on the call for free that you can ask anything that you want, you can take the time and say, hey, is there possible that I can have a breakout session with that counselor? And that is, we were able to do that. From those Mental Health Mondays, we do have quite a few people who have actually sought individual counseling with the partners that we have.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the Mental Health Monday, because that seems to be probably your most or the most robust program that you have that's developing and also creating your stream of clients. As you let's see, she popped out. Are you still there, Danielle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so as you now, I want to be clear as far as the practitioners that you have working with you and partnering with you. Those practitioners are actually licensed, but you are not a licensed counselor, correct?
That is correct. I am a certified life coach and I can mentor, but I do not have a license to do any type of therapy. That is a personal goal of mine to go back to school for that, though.
Okay, awesome. So, and we want to make that clear for people who are seeking mental health, services. Danielle is not yet, but she is working towards that. But she is a life coach, so that's that mentoring aspect is good. So, as you're doing your research, you're advocating for people. You're making constant contact with them to see how they are in terms of their well-being. And I'm sure you're taking in a lot of information from people about things that impact their mental health. So, what are, I would say, maybe the top 3 things that you can share with us as far as dynamics in our world and their world or whatever that really tips the scales for them when it comes to mental health issues? Some people say it's work. Some people say it's home, work-life balance. Some people are, just, in grieving and they're, depressed and they can't get out of that funk. Are there triggers or things that seem to rise to the top of the scale as far as the most common dynamics that actually push people into a state of low mental health? Can you share that with us?
Absolutely. If we can be honest for a second, COVID did a lot. COVID exposed a lot. We were left to kind of deal with things on our own. The spike of mental health did increase with COVID because you had to actually there you couldn't really go anywhere. Normally, if you're having an anxiety attack or something of that nature, or you're feeling depressed and you usually kind of go outside and exercise, well, the gym is closed, so you're going to have to you have to actually sit and deal with those emotions. I would say, like, as you mentioned, definitely the home work life balance. People just being pulled in so many different directions, wearing so many different hats. not really having the chance to have that self-care, that self-peace. I think that it's very, very important. I stress this all the time. And this is kind of the pot calling the kettle black. It is important to take 5, 10, 15 minutes out of your day to just focus on you. It is so important to have a healthy mental space. If your mental space is not together, then it affects your work, it affects your home, it affects you just in general. I would say, again, with work, um, it has, some of us have had to, and I include myself in it, because even though I am a mental health advocate, I still struggle day to day with the things that I have going on. And I'm actually, and this is a transparent moment, just being in counseling as well. Um, it's important. Counselors even have counselors that they kind of
Mm-hmm.
talk to. It's just important to kind of just have someone that you can pour out to. But it's also important for someone to kind of pour into you. But I would say just the home work life balance is a major one. Jobs is a major one as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, as people, kind of, I guess, come through your program and they're being exposed to others in the program, so they see, okay, they're not alone. And I'm sure that that's one thing that, probably is therapeutic or cathartic for them. When you think about the people who come into that program, what's the main thing you want them to take away from each call, each session that you have, that makes you know that what you're doing is successful?
The fact that they could walk away and say, gosh, I have people that are on this call with me, that listen to me, that are there for me, that shows me that I'm not alone, and that at any point in time I could reach out to, or I can reach out to, some people even make connections and have conversations outside of just reach. So as long, I want them to walk away knowing that there is somebody that's there, and that they don't have to walk any type of lonely road or dark road alone.
Okay, all right. So you have something coming up that is a way for you to, or you're hoping will be successful as a way for you to raise funds to do what you do. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, ma'am. I have mental health called Don't Hide Behind the Mask Mental Health Masquerade Ball. That is on Saturday, April 29th at 6 o'clock. We're just raising funds to continue to support REACH and help with the 501c3 status. This is also a way for individuals that cannot afford counseling services, if they're looking to go deeper into counseling sessions, that will be able to help offset that cost for them. But I'm just really excited about this event. The story a little bit behind the Don't Hide Behind the Mask. If everyone's, they all, you've probably seen, not necessarily known, but Twitch, aka Steven, aka Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
dancing guru. He was a light to
Yeah.
everyone. He is. I mean, I was even inspired by him just to see his story, and then for it to end by him taking his own life or dying by suicide. It was really shattering to me, and I wanted to convey, like, how many of us hide behind a mask? How many of us deal with certain things that, we don't let the world know, or we don't even let our families or our spouses or people that are close to us know what's going on? And it's important to don't hide behind the mask and take it off, start living, let everyone know that, hey, I'm not okay. And it's okay to not be okay all the time. But to just have that support system around mental health is what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay, all right. So don't hide behind the mask. Mental Health Masquerade Ball happening Saturday, April the 29th. And, it sounds like it's going to be a fantastic event, and hopefully it will be successful to support you as you, work on your endeavor and, move forward in your initiative. And Brother Edward, do you have any questions?
Yeah, she articulates the whole scenario quite well, and yeah, you really do. So, so how long have you, so when did this get started? If you said it before, I missed it. Okay.
No, you're fine. About 2 years ago, I started off really small, just for May. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I did a community event, just let's talk about mental health. And then it's kind of branched into being more of a support system and a resource system even more. And I'm just hoping to continue to grow that.
So it's interesting that you're not certified, so to speak, but you were able to bring all these people together, especially on a Monday, right? You call it the mental health Mondays, right?
Yes, sir.
And specifically, what professions do you have? I know you said counselors. They are certified counselors, right?
Yes, sir.
So on average, how many do you have per?
Usually it's 1 or 2.
It's 1 or 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is that usually adequate to serve the number of people who are coming in there?
Yes, sir. Most of them ask questions, and the counselors kind of go back and forth,
right.
questions. And if there is a person who needs further assistance or has more deep in-depth conversation, then they'll have the opportunity to actually reach out to that counselor.
So how do you do further outreach to the community? What venues do you use?
A little bit of everything. We're doing a Mental Health Monday for March for men. It's the first Monday in March, and it's called Men Who Talk Heal. And that is going to be at a local restaurant on Broadway at the beach, with a mental health counselor, Mr. Jamie Fowler. He is going to be talking to the men, just talking about providing healthier mental tips, just mental wellness overall, and still creating that safe space. But I just try to kind of go all over the place, maybe at a church, or some of it's kind of on Zoom, because counselors, because of their overloaded schedule, it's quite convenient for them to be on Zoom.
Right.
And then I've also gotten a lot of feedback that people actually love being on Zoom, because it's nothing like sitting at home with your PJs on, able to, turn on and not have to go outside of their own comfort zone.
Well, all right.
Go ahead, Brother Edward.
I was about to say that congratulations on your endeavor. That's it's much needed, much needed.
Thank
you.
And
the way you're offering it, it's almost free, right? I mean, and what do we call it, April? We call it free 99.
Yeah, something like that. Danielle, you were talking about your outreach into the community. You mentioned the churches. What are some, so that people can get a sense of the community that you actually serve? What are some of the churches, or where are some of the churches that you've actually connected with in order to do this type of work?
Well, we have Sandy Grove Missionary Baptist Church. We have First Presbyterian Church. We're working to expand more of our churches, but those two have been an integral part.
Okay, last thing we heard was those two have been an integral part. Popped in and out. Yeah. Ms. Janet Lawrence Patton, thank you so much for watching tonight. She asked, are your services for adults or youth, or both?
Both. Anyone.
Okay. And that's a good question, because if you are providing this, for example, the Mental Health Monday sessions, do you find it impactful or effective to have youth and adults in the same session? How do you create the safe space for the adults and the youth who may pop in? Or is it by registration? Do you kind of, if they register, do you then kind of assign them to? Tell us a little bit about that process, because I can imagine that might be challenging, especially if some of the issues that adults or even the youth are dealing with, maybe triggering for a mixed group of people, So tell us how you handle that process.
So for the most part, our mental health Mondays are adult. We are working on getting into the school system and doing more things of that nature. Normally the kids are coming to like the big events that we've had in the past with the community. Let's talk about mental health, and we're definitely able to break them off into different sections. But there's never a room because we do believe that kids can talk more about things, especially when their parents or adults are not in the room. And then I'm fortunate enough to be able to have some training classes and mental health classes where the church, Sandy Grove, for instance, has revival where they're asking for like a mental health component, and I'm able to grab the kids at that particular time and have a conversation with them.
Okay. All right. So, Janet, and I'm sure others want to know, what is your contact info? How can they reach you? Do you have a website? Let's talk about that.
So I don't have a website as of right now. I took it down, but you can contact me with my phone number 803-908-5914. You can.
I'm sorry, so I'm going to put it on a banner. So can you mention it again? Yeah, you're kind of choppy a little bit. So what's the number?
Sorry, area code 803-908-5914. You can also be able to reach us via email at reachempowerment09@gmail.com.
Okay. So there's a phone number, and then reachempowerment09@gmail.com.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So again, you're having the Don't Hide Behind the Mask Masquerade Ball on April the 29th. And if they want to purchase tickets, do you have at least a Facebook page?
Yes, ma'am. I do have. Reach Empowerment does have a Facebook page, and tickets are also sold and they're $60.
All right. And so what tell us a little bit about the night. What is happening during the event?
We will have some good eating, some music, entertainment, and a speaker by the name of Johnny McCoy. He is a native of Myrtle Beach as well. He has created the first official mental health app called White Flag. He's a mental health advocate as well, and he'll be there just sharing his story.
All right, awesome. All right.
So, Danielle, we talked briefly just before we went on the air, and you gave what the acronym REACH is. Do you mind for our audience?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. REACH is receive, educate, achieve, connect, and heal.
Okay. That's really interesting. You're gonna healing.
Yeah,
like that. I like that.
We're trying to heal, healthy healing.
Yeah. Like that. I really like that. Well, look, congratulations on this endeavor. And April, I just think that I think she's going to go somewhere.
Thank you.
I think she has something to, and she wants the community's support, and we should share that responsibility to help you to do that.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We should do that. And you're welcome to come back on here on the air again.
Thank you.
All right. And congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
All right. So, Brother
April,
yes.
Can I allude to the, can we just revisit the information regarding, I was looking at some of the comments. There was information regarding the Whittemore Elementary Preservation Society. Mm-hmm. There was one thing that was missing, and that letting the people know. And if you check out the comments on the side, you can just put it on the screen. Joella said that
For more
Reverend
information,
Cheryl-
they can contact
right.
Reverend Cheryl Adamson.
Reverend
Yes.
Adamson, yeah,
Mhm,
to address more of this in the future. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just want to let people know that, because we're going. This is going to be coming up just about every broadcast. Okay, I mean, everybody's going to be on board to at least hear a few minutes of it on each broadcast. This thing is going into full swing, and they've got some very interesting people who are a part of this now, locally and statewide, and people are. I mean, the interest is just sparked, and but I think more than that, so a lot of professional information that at least I was glad to see some professionals who want to be a part of this endeavor by the Whittemore Historical Society. To me, that's encouraging, and the fact that Brother Malachi is going around to these places, like the churches and stuff like that, and other entities, and just letting the community know what's what's going on regarding that society. Okay, so having said that, we've run out of time, I believe.
Yeah, but before we go, I do have one important announcement regarding the Whittemore Alumni Scholarship. The scholarship window is now open. And so it is time for anyone who is interested in learning more about the Whittemore Alumni Scholarship to, take a look at the Whittemore Alumni Association website. We do have the actual application on the website. And so what's great about that is, we're going to be sharing this, of course, with the schools, and we will also share it around the community. We just opened the window, but you can go to the website and actually apply online. If you click click here for more information button, basically it takes you to our scholarship page, and you can take a look at all the scholarship criteria, and also see that the deadline is Friday, March the 31st to apply for the new scholarship. And then just click to apply, and you can complete the application online. We will announce the awards in April, and we're really excited about what's to come. You can also take a look at last year's scholarship recipients, and if you ever need to see what success looks like, you can look in these 10 beautiful faces and find it there. And so we're really excited and fortunate to have so many great supporters of the scholarship initiative. The donations are coming in, and it's all about supporting education, providing funding for college for our descendants of Whittemore alumni. And again, the Whittemore Alumni Association defines alumni as anyone who passed through the Whittemore school system, even if they did not graduate. And so what you'll want to do is to make sure that you contact us through the website if you have any questions. We have a scholarship committee that can answer any questions. You can also go to our Facebook page and post your questions or whatever. But everything is there on the website, WhittemoreAlumniAssociation.org. And we just encourage anyone who's watching, if you know of high school seniors in Horry County, across the state, across the nation, actually, who have a connection to a descendant of Whittemore, they are a descendant of Whittemore, they have a connection to a Whittemore alum. So I'm a legacy. I'm a descendant of a Whittemore alum. And so if you know of anyone who actually has that connection and they're looking for a scholarship opportunity, last year we actually had a couple of students who did not live in the Horry County area. However, their grandparents or someone that they're related to who came through Whittemore, they were there. Obviously, there was that relationship or that connection, so that made them eligible. There's other criteria as well, as such as grade point average and a few other things that we're looking for. The application is very complete. It doesn't take that long to complete the application, and it asks for some very specific information. And of course, parents, if you're listening, make sure that you follow up with your student because transcripts are required, and we will be more than happy to answer any questions about what you need to do in order to get that type of information. So I definitely want to share that. Scholarship window is now open. You'll be hearing more about this in the coming weeks, and we can't wait to award these scholarships. There's money out there for school, money out there for college, and also there's a mentoring aspect that is on the horizon through the Whittemore Alumni Association, and a few other things that are related to alumni engagement that the association is working on. But our primary goal in all of it is to raise money for scholarships, and we ask that also if you are interested in being a part of the Whittemore Alumni Association, you actually don't even have to be a Whittemore alum to be a part of the association. If you're just a community person who wants to support the efforts or the mission of the organization, please contact us and we will be in touch with you to let you know when our regular meetings happen. So wanted to share that because we definitely want to give away the scholarship money, Brother Edward.
That's well said. I like the way you said that. If I were in high school and I hear this kind of information, I'd be scrambling.
Me too.
Yeah, I really.
Every penny counts.
I think over the course of the number of years, April, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, they gave an average of $1,000 per year per student, right? On average.
1,000 per student, yeah, and it's not per student. And traditionally there are 10 awards. This year we don't know how many we will award. We do have a goal that we've set, but more importantly, it's really about making sure that the students know that this scholarship exists. Believe it or not, we have an issue or a challenge in that we don't have enough students applying for the scholarship, and that makes no sense to me. Because I'm sure that there are parents who are looking for different ways to help fund the education for their students or their children. And what better way than to dig into your Whittemore history to see if you have a direct connection to someone, and this will automatically make you eligible. And then there are other criteria such as grade point average. I believe the grade point average is a 3.0. And that's a great grade point average for anyone who is college bound. So we look for extracurricular activities and things like that. So even if you're in a household where you don't have children or students who are in need of a college scholarship, surely you know of households where there are students who are graduating this year and are in need of funds for college. So pass the word along as well. Let everyone know, about this scholarship. More information to come, and we definitely are willing to talk to any parent who wants to know about this. As a matter of fact, we are scheduling some info sessions that will happen via Zoom so that we can talk to the parents about how to complete these scholarships. And also, typically they are awarded as far as like the announcements. We make the announcements during the Scholastic Award ceremonies throughout the year. So Edna Bellamy DeWitt, who was watching, she had the honor of going to the various schools to present the students with their awards if they received the scholarship. And that's always a fun part of it. So just wanted to let everybody know the Whittemore Alumni Scholarship is now open. Please complete it as soon as possible. Don't let the deadline hit you and you haven't applied for the scholarship. There's money out there. We're trying to give it away. Yeah. So
and I think April, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not on the board like you are, but you all also give directions to getting money. You can tell students where they can go to get money once they contact you all. Right.
What you mean as far as other scholarships?
Right.
No, we don't really do that through the Whittemore Alumni Association. The mentoring portion of it is more about making sure students are prepared for the scholarship process. So the mentoring part that we're working on now is going to be geared more towards students who are approaching their senior year so that they can make sure that their GPA is right, that they have the extracurricular community service we're looking for, and a few other things, but mainly to make sure they're focused and they're on track. I think the organization you may be thinking about is Educate Our Youth. Now that's Janet Thompson's organization, and now her organization was designed to help prepare students for not only college but also for career readiness. And so she is working now to develop a list of scholarship opportunities. Anybody who wants to know more about scholarships, she can do the research to find out what needs to be done in order to get scholarship applications and things like that. So, and the great thing about it is that Janet works with us as well. She's a part of the Whittemore Alumni Association, but she has her own entity, Educate Our Youth. So there is a lot of support out there for students. And if there's anyone who wants to get involved with the Whittemore Alumni Association to push the mission of the association to support education, or if you want to get involved as well with Educate Our Youth, which is a great way to actually work with the youth directly and to motivate them and prepare them for college and the career transition. There's two great organizations here that are all focused on the youth. And if you want more information, both organizations have Facebook pages and they also have websites. Janet's website is educateouryouth.info, I believe it is. And of course, I mentioned the Whittemore Alumni Association website a few minutes ago, which is whittemorealumniassociation.org.
Yeah. Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Yeah. So great night, great information. Thank you so much, Danielle Lewis, for being with us tonight with Reach Empowerment, Malachi for your city council updates, and thank all of you for listening in. Next week, we will have Ms. Shauna Riley. She's with the Riley Foundation for Sickle Cell Disease. She and her son will be on the broadcast, and they're going to tell us more about the Riley Foundation and what they do. They're also going to talk about sickle cell, who it affects, how they are affected, and they're going to, answer the question, is there a cure? She's also going to focus on the importance of bone marrow matching in the African American community and how bone marrow matches can help with sickle cell and other blood-related diseases. And so on top of that, it's going to be,
interesting.
On top of that, she's going to talk about the importance of donating blood. So you'll want to tune into that, and I think it's going to be an excellent show. And that will round out our February and Black History Month. And so, Brother Errol, we've been working hard.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Trying to educate people. Educate the people.
Right. That's the satisfaction. I mean, we're getting from that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
At least that if it's going in one ear and coming out the other, at least it's going in. Okay.
Look, and you can't say we didn't tell you. Now we've asked time and time again. If you have topics that you would like for us to explore, shoot us an email, drop a line on my Facebook page, on the World Community Magazine Facebook page, through our website. Hey, can you find out more about this? And we'll work to find a speaker or a special guest or somebody who can come on and talk about things, and whatever you want to be educated on, whatever you need more information on, just let us know, and that helps us to pull together our Janet says y'all working hard making Black history. Yeah, we're trying. we're trying always to make sure that people understand what is available in the Black community. And the great thing about it is that we aren't just coming from the standpoint of folks in the Black community. We really do diversify this program, and we bring in, other people who can help spread the word about resources and services that are out there, things that are going on in the community, because, we're not the only ones in the world. We all need each other. And so, we have to bring in, our city officials and other people. But this news is supposed to help empower our community. So we just thank everyone for the support, and we hope that you will take in at least one Black History event in the area. Check out that Gullah Geechee Day that's happening. I think Malachi said this weekend coming up. And, just show your support for the organizations that we talked about tonight, the Whittemore East Path Historic Society, Whittemore Alumni Association, Reach Empowerment, Educate Our Youth. There's so many orgs out there, and so much we can support. Lots of work still to be done, Janet. So thank you very much.
Thank all of our commenters. Really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So, April, if there's nothing else.
Yep. we're going to say goodnight, and we hope that you all continue to have a wonderful week. We will see you next Tuesday at 7:05 p.m. So
7:05.
7:05. Take care, everyone.
Okay.
All right. God bless.
God bless.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.